Hi, David.
Hey, Kemma, how are you?
I'm good. Although, David, it's well past time for my haircut. I need to get my lines back. I need to get low. This is way too much maintenance for me now, David.
I hear you on the haircut front. I'm definitely looking forward to actually, not cutting my own hair for the first time in a year. So,
That'd be a great thing, right?
yes.
Yeah, yeah. These are the little gifts that we look forward to once we have vaccines. We've been vaccinated. We can go sit in a place, not necessarily worry as much. So, this is a plug for all of those who are wanting to resume their lives. You can if you get a shot. I'm just saying. So, what's going on with you, David?
Well, I think it's kind of an exciting time, right? We're in May now, and we're right at the end of the traditional academic year. Although for those of you who are still at the college or even moving on to your four-year school, summer is not necessarily a time off. If you stick with courses in the summer, you get done much quicker. And usually your courses are smaller too. Your class size is
Yeah,
smaller, so you
yeah.
get more personalized instruction. So another plug, not an advertent plug, but just saying,
Just
um,
saying.
just saying. But it is exciting. We have a lot of our students graduating, so that's always
Yeah,
an exciting time.
and that makes me think about historically what I've seen students do at these periods of transition, um, when they're supposed to be completing a major milestone and stepping into another milestone. I've even seen it with like people who are not students, just regular old everyday living your life people. Um, and it's that, what am I going to do next? Everybody is expecting something of me. What if I fail? Kick thoughts start kicking in, and then they
Uh,
self-sabotage, David. Yeah.
Yeah, great topic to bring up, Kemma. You're right. Especially with graduation right around the corner, like you said, you've had experience seeing
Mm-hmm.
this from the student perspective, but also people in their everyday lives, just as they're about to accomplish something big or significant or good,
Mm-hmm.
they undercut themselves. So I'm interested. Could you share some more about your experiences
Yeah, I mean,
seeing that in action?
if I think about students, what I've seen them do is they almost tank, but it's not like 2 weeks before graduation. It's at the midpoint of the semester sometimes. They just stop doing their work, right? They just stop feeling motivated to get work done. They start feeling anxious about what's going to happen next. So rather than do the things that they need to do, like following through with making appointments and setting up interviews, they just start sleeping more, or they just start socializing with friends more, or they try to find things that can distract them from the things that they are supposed to be doing, right? And so, or they make appointments, they schedule interviews, and then they don't show up, right? And so they just do like really crazy things that they know it's hard to recover from. Not that they can't, but it'll be hard to recover from. And then that becomes the reason why they weren't able to move on to the next thing. Um, I've also seen, I know this is going to sound crazy, David, but people are ready, like they're right at that point where they're about to have a breakthrough, and then they just walk away. They just, they throw, like they may have been putting years and years and years into this thing, and they just walk away. But they were right at the breakthrough, right?
Right.
And so I'm wondering about the mindset of the person that gets to that point where they're about to get to the other side of a thing that they say that they've wanted for so long, and they just give up, or they walk away, or they do things to like destroy their chances or opportunities to get that thing. What's that mindset, David?
Yeah, it's a great question, Kemma, because like you said, it seems so counterintuitive. It's so like you said, it's odd to see someone work so hard for so long for something and be about to accomplish it, and then, like you said, to walk away or to do things that actually work against that. And I think there are several reasons why individuals do that. One, I think that's very common is kind of a low self-esteem. Like,
Mhm.
I don't think, in a sense, like I'm worth it. I don't think I can really do it.
Mhm.
Um, it doesn't fit with my perception of myself. So
Mhm.
I undercut myself. And then that fits in with how I see myself, right? I
Mhm.
don't see
Mhm.
myself as someone who's able to accomplish something great. And so I make sure that my reality fits that perception,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So that's one reason. Another reason is, right, it keeps things familiar, right?
Mm.
When I do accomplish something like that, it might change expectations or it might change my environment, right? If I graduate, then that means I have to go on to my career, right? Or it
Mhm.
means I'm going on to a new school with new expectations and new processes and new people.
Mhm.
But if I keep myself stuck where I am, right, then I'm at least used to it. I might not like it, but at least I'm used to it.
Yeah, the
Uh,
devil you know.
exactly, right.
Mhm.
And oftentimes we'll do that. Another thing is, it allows us to exert a level of control, right? Uh, that the outcome may not be good, but I have control over it,
Yeah.
right? I'm
Yeah.
doing these things, and it also provides kind of um, a scapegoat, right?
Yeah.
For that, right? Well, I didn't get that job because I didn't go to the interview. It's not like I tried my best and I failed,
Mhm.
right? Which makes me maybe have to reflect upon myself, right? Why
Mhm.
didn't I get that? Maybe I didn't have the skills. Maybe I didn't prepare as well as I could have. Like, maybe I'm not that good in an interview. Maybe I need, all these reflections on myself. I'm not good enough to get that kind of job at this
Yeah.
point. But
Yeah.
if I don't go, right? Or I go and I purposely don't prepare, well, then it's
Mhm.
easy to say, oh, that's why that didn't happen. I get to deflect some of that responsibility or
Yeah.
deflect the actual nature of the situation. But I also prevent myself from ever possibly getting that
Yeah.
achievement.
Can you imagine if we put all of these powers, this energy to actually just being the amazing people we are? I mean, it's an amazing amount of energy to not get the thing that you say that you want for whatever reasons, as you've listed, but it's an amazing amount of energy to not get the thing that you want.
Right. We spend so much time protecting what we have that oftentimes
Yeah.
we rob ourselves of what we can actually be.
Yeah, it
Mhm.
it really is. It's heartbreaking. And I remember being in that place. Like I'm not speaking about this as if I am somehow above any of this because fully remember being at a place where I was in year 5 of the dissertation and I said, "You know what? I'm good. I mean, I've mastered the coursework. I showed everybody how good I am. So I've gotten as far. I mean, no one in my family has gotten this far. And I mean, listen, really, a doctorate. I mean, who needs it? I mean, I'm not going to run around calling myself Dr. Kemma. So, I mean, I'm good. So I had a little talk with Jesus, and Jesus said, if you don't get your little brown self up, you're fine brown self because I made you. If you don't get up and get yourself together and finish this degree that we are working for, you're going to see a couple things. And so, being obedient, I decided let me push forward. But David, it was a true crisis of confidence, as you said
Mhm.
before, around the self-esteem. I just didn't have an academic esteem issue, right? I had other self-esteem issues. I was like, this too wide, this too thick. I had other issues I had to work through, but I was always good in school. That was my thing. And so for me to be faced with something that it was my thing, but I'm not beating my thing, I'm not beasting it, that was really hard, right? And
Right.
so rather than facing that head on, I was just willing to go all around and do what I needed to do, including walking away from it.
Right.
And
Because like you said, on one level, right, you're good at it. And so if you try to push forward and you don't accomplish it, well, then what does that mean about
mhm,
yourself, right? Something I've
mhm.
always seen myself as being good at.
Mhm. Mhm. Exactly,
Mhm.
exactly. And so for me, ultimately, it had to become something that I was willing to embrace. The something was the fear, the anxiety about it, the worry about it, the negative thoughts about it. I had to embrace all of that and say, and what? So what? We're going to do it anyway, right? I had to have that mindset, much like when people are dealing with anxiety or depression. We tell them it is hard, but you must put that one foot. We're not asking you to put your whole body, just one foot in front of the other and take one step. And then you do it again and again. And hopefully, in doing that, you're able to break through that barrier that sometimes you feel with depression, where you just feel like you can't do it, right? You just don't have the energy to do it. And, barring you needing any medication to stabilize yourself, around, like, chemical depression, a lot of times it's just getting the movement going, right? So it's the same thing I found for that moment of, when I was thinking about sabotaging all that I had done. It was really just getting movement going and saying, yes, all these things are coming with me. They're not necessarily going away. But what I noticed was the more I moved, the less heavy it felt, right? The more I was able to just keep doing in spite of it, the less controlling it felt over me and my ability to accomplish the goal. So yeah, it took me longer than others, but I still able to accomplish it.
Exactly, Kemma. It's such a great example, and I'm sure many people can identify with a similar situation. And I think it's interesting to think about, like, what would you have had to carry around if you had just given up at that point? If you
Mhm,
had sabotaged yourself at that point, you
mhm.
know, now that doubt, that never having accomplished that would be with you.
Right,
Mhm.
right. Ah, and the weight of it would just feel like a noose, like, it would feel like just total failure that was just suffocating me all the time, right? Because it's something that I said I wanted, something that I worked for, something that I wasn't able to accomplish, and I have the debt to show for it. No degree, but a whole lot of debt, and I would really feel like I had failed myself, not necessarily anyone else, but myself. Yeah, yeah. So oh, I think we're getting some feedback, David. So what advice do we have for others who might be in this position, um, where in addition to just you kind of just have to move, you have to move forward. You're planning, you're thinking about it, being flexible, recognizing that plans can change, that sometimes they don't go the way we planned, but we still get to plan. Um, in addition to that, what else can we offer to people who might be in this position where they're feeling like, I just want to walk away, or I don't know what's going to happen, and the whole world expects amazing things from me, and I don't even know if I can get out of bed this morning and be as amazing as they think I am. What can we support them with? What can we suggest to them?
Great question, Kemma. I think a few things. One, I think that's like you were talking about, that's a normal feeling to feel like you want to walk away from something that is difficult or that challenges you or that's going to make you go into areas you're unfamiliar with, right? Um, you're incredibly accomplished, right? And you still felt that at the end of your journey, at the end of an important journey. So this is not, it doesn't mean that you really aren't good enough, or it doesn't mean that you aren't persistent enough, or there's something about yourself. It's a really normal psychological reaction to being about to accomplish something. So don't read too much into it, and then think about, reflect. Can I look at some of my thinking here and identify the cause of it? Is it because I don't think um, I'm good enough? Is it because I'm anxious about doing something new? Is it because I'm worried that if I try, I actually will fail this, and what that will mean about me? Is it because I want to have some more control over my life? Is it because I feel like an imposter already? Right, that kind of imposter syndrome thing. Um, or I feel like, if going back to that self-worth, I feel like if I'm someone who can achieve this, and it probably isn't worth achieving anyway. And that happens quite a bit too. So think about your thinking around those decisions, and and you know get a sounding board, reach out to someone who you respect, who knows you, or who can give you some unbiased feedback, and let them know what your thinking is, and see if it's, there are times in our life that we will want to pivot, but right before we accomplish something, there's probably something else going on. And the fact is too that if you just go and finish that thing, you can always pivot after you finish too. You can always make that accomplishment and then decide to do something else if you want. It doesn't preclude you from doing that.
I love that, David. I love the self-reflection. I love the, thinking about what's triggering you in the moment. But I also love this suggestion that you're making, this recommendation about going after it, getting it anyway, and then pivoting, right? Because what we don't want to do is ever live in regret. And I think sometimes when we don't go after that thing that we feel like we really want, we end up regretting it. And that just brings it's a whole host of issues, that we can talk about on another Wellness Wednesday, that living with regret thing. But definitely going after and pivoting. And I would say that, the idea of having an accountability partner or talking it out with someone is also key. As you said, just having someone there to bounce these ideas off of, because sometimes they will help us when we're in our irrational fear mode self, so that's definitely a good piece of advice. And I would also encourage people to figure out some kind of routine, like some kind of process that they would follow that would help center them. Because sometimes when you get worked up like that, you need to sometimes a lot of times we talk about the rubber band as the thing where people snap the rubber band if they're having a thought, and they need to interrupt the thought, because if they go down that rabbit hole, that rabbit trail of that thought, it would lead them to negative places. Having a routine can do something similar, because you're like, okay, I get up in the morning, whatever your thing is, whether it's stretching or some yoga or meditation, whatever it is, but something to kind of set the course of your day, because routines help us to ground us, right? They're very helpful in grounding us. And sometimes this sabotaging behavior it happens, and it's causing us to spiral out of control, and we don't feel grounded. And so creating those things, that grounding practices that will help you stay connected to yourself, your center, and your purpose, your reason for why you're doing it, could also help you to avoid going down that path of sabotaging yourself.
That's great advice, Kama. Um, and I hope again that I think it will resonate with a lot of people, because, like I said, we all encounter that feeling at some point in our lives. But like you were saying, Kama, let's not live our lives in regret. Let's not live a shadow of a life thinking what we could have become or could have tried, because you're Dr. Kem now, and there's nothing that can take that away from you. Whatever you want to do now, you could do a million different things, but you still have that accomplishment. And that's important to us as individuals, to have accomplishments. And it's equally important to have things that we try for and fail. And that's something to remember too. That fear of failure can keep us from trying to meet those accomplishments. But if we're not failing, then we're probably not trying. We're not challenging ourselves sufficiently. So, Kema, thank you so much for bringing up this great topic, this timely topic today. And I hope you have a wonderful week, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Same here, David. Thank you so much for the time. Thank you so much for your wisdom. And I'll see you on our next Wednesday call.
Sounds great. And congratulations to all of our graduates.
Absolutely. You did it.
Wonderful work. We can't wait to see what you accomplish going forward.
All righty. Bye, guys.
Take care.